Is that nuts?
That's super nuts.
I was a little shocked when I got the text.
Very exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously this third edition is already catching a huge hype, but let's take people in. First of all, the book is called The Family Board Meeting. You first wrote it in 2015. Let's just get right to the details. What's changed in this new version?
I'd say the thing that's changed is there's more proof of concept stories. We've really been able to fine tune. We estimate there's about 300,000 families using this now, and which is exciting, but it's kind of taking on some, when you're sculpting something, it's chiseled off a few more edges. We have some more case studies in there. And when people started to ask about the importance of family, it was spending time with their children and spending quality time with their spouse. So we actually added a section on marriage, and one of our favorite family rhythms that is being used by thousands of entrepreneur families that we've taught it to for marriage. So I think that was a really important part for the book update as well for this third edition.
I loved it. I read it. I absolutely loved it. I thought, you know what? I need to start applying this, even though I have 3 teenagers, 17, 15, 13. Your whole business is around real estate investment, but this is kind of a passion, this 18 summers thing. I'm going to ask people if they can share this, if they can tag anybody who needs this, anybody who would benefit, families, marriages. But what is 18 summers?
Oh, it's a math equation. It's such a great question. But, you hear the term 18 summers and you really know what it means. You're like, oh, children are called adults at 18. And so you get a limited amount of time to really pour into them. 85% of the time you'll ever spend with your children are in the first 18 years. Now, obviously, if you do those intentionally, they'll keep coming back for more. For example, we talk about our children in the book. It's really where the entire framework was born, was from our family becoming connected. And those 2 boys the book was written about and for are now 18 and 20, which is insane. Actually, they're 17 and 19, but almost 18 and 20. And you just think making the most of the time you have. And because we poured in intentionally in those first 18 summers, they've been visiting us in Costa Rica, even though they're on the other side of those 18 summers. And so I just think they return back for those rhythms. They return back for those frameworks, those islands of consistency and the things in which you built to make the most of whatever time you have. Kary, you said your youngest is 13.
Yes.
You got so much time. And even the bigger ones, we have grandparents that start with their grandchildren, or, parents that start once their kids are in college. So it's amazing that the book truly, and 18 Summers, is really about just bringing the awareness of making the most of whatever time it is that you have.
I love it. I love it. Jim, did you write the first one in 2015? I know Jamie adds a whole bunch in this new version, but did you start back in 2015 with that?
I was hand scraping all the book together, and Jamie was our unofficial editor. This was a book, it was so grassroots, Kary, and it was from our mutual friend, Shannon Waller at Strategic Coach. She saw me do a talk on this.
A 10-minute talk. It had 3 pieces to it in 10 minutes.
Yeah, the 3 principles to these, quarterly days that I had with my 2 young adopted sons.
And you almost didn't do it.
I almost didn't do it. I thought it was silly for a business event. And again, Shannon, Strategic Coach, came up and she basically said, if you don't write this book, I will kill you.
I think she might have said,
I think she said, and you know how friendly Shannon is. So
Yeah.
No, but we had the support of groups like that right away. And we wrote this book, Grassroots. Jamie published it.
At like 2 a.m. while nursing a baby on the floor.
We're talking $800, and then all of a sudden a few big people, and if he's listening, thank you, James Altucher, putting us on his 300th show, because he started using it with his daughters. And that first, everything's a progression. And that first one was super simple, but it got the basics. And then it's just continued to sculpt into something better and cleaner and easier to lean on and see results from. At least that's the feedback we're getting from people, which is really exciting. But that first one, very grassroots.
Same 3 principles.
Yeah.
Do you want to start unpacking those principles? You want to share some of that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's just 3 pieces: one-on-one, without electronics, fun activity with focused reflection, which is really the basic definition of experiential education. So you get, you take half a day to a whole day, once a quarter with each of your children. So if you have 4 children, you have 4 meetings every quarter and 4 times a year. And if you have a spouse, each of you take the time with each of the children. So that's a question we get a lot is, do both spouses do a board meeting with all of the children?
People will say, Kary, well, you spend a half day each quarter. It's the structure around it. Those 3 principles, when we unpack them, it really does set the stage for connection. And that the core here is one-on-one time. One-on-one time is an absolute, whatever you want to call it, bridge, hack, secret sauce, unfair advantage to that. And when you facilitate one-on-one time the right way, we've heard about relationships being saved with their children, uncovering real dangerous situations, learning about their gifts and talents they never would have if they hadn't had this focused one-on-one time, which is really, really inspiring.
I love it. My wife just practiced it, Kelly, with our daughter Addison at she wanted to go to Barnes and Noble. And so, we're talking about Barnes and Noble. Here, your book's number 1.
Great. Thanks to you, they can get our book there. So
yeah. So, I mean, this is, by the way, folks, this is a huge feat for them. I don't know if you check this out, but look at this. Sales rank 1. And this isn't like a category of a category. This is like number 1 in the planet. I think our world is craving for this. I really do.
Yeah.
My wife said that our daughter just had a perfect night. You don't just call it daddy date night or mommy date night. You actually structure it. And I like what you're saying about the electronics. That was a thing. But you also structure it in like, don't go too deep. Don't try to make it be more than it's supposed to be. You tell this one about your son wanting to pick a place, a tower, right? And he wanted a lighthouse, and he was scared of heights. Kind of give us a little bit of that and how that's now a thing. And, Jim, you were worried, like, is he really want to choose this? But I love how you handled it, man. Can you tell us a little bit about that story?
Yeah, that story has gotten kind of famous. So, of course, we have a really beautiful lighthouse in St. Augustine, Florida, with stunning views. Well, his big brother, a few weeks earlier, had gone to the lighthouse and was bragging about it. And he said, well, I've always wanted to go to the lighthouse, too. The only difference was one was afraid of heights, one wasn't. And so this little 6-year-old, there he is, afraid of heights. And he picked it, and I said, okay, it's his day. He gets to do whatever he wants. There's no judgment here. I'm not going to try to influence. He has full ownership. And we got there, and he's freaking out in the car. I don't know, it's really tall. And I just remember saying to him, hey, buddy, let's just try to go up the first landing of the stairs and then sit down. And if you don't like it, we can go back down.
Wow.
And so, this lighthouse, and so every curl of steps, there's like a little bench where people could sit because it's really steep. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
So, Kary, it took probably 45 minutes to get to the top of this lighthouse. Wow. That's a 10-minute thing.
But good for you, though, right there, because I'm just telling you, task-oriented dad, come on, son, are we in or are we out? Like, you just had really good parenting skills there, but keep going. I love this.
No, and then we sat, and he would say, I don't know. I said, look, you can go down anytime. He'd go to the next one. And then it started to be like, okay, we can go down, but you're closer to the top than you are the bottom at this point. And so then when we got out, and this view again is just awe-inspiring. Wow. Yeah. So he's just so proud of himself. And then we ended up doing it 2 more times. And then luckily being in Florida, there was a thunderstorm and they shut it down. We went to eat. And at the end, we went to the beach near our house. We're climbing on the jetty rocks. And he said something to me, which I talk about, which is kind of embarrassing as an entrepreneur. You think it would be proud years ago, but he said, Dad, have you ever been afraid? And right there, I realized I had set a very unrealistic expectation where you got to kill Superman, because for me to put up an image I'd never been afraid is really bad.
Yeah.
And so being able to do that and teach him that, and him to overcome this fear of heights. And as you know, the big joke now, which releasing his 3rd edition, here he is. He has his own business now. What does he do? Roof cleaning. So
Yeah.
So
That's good.
you never know where this stuff is going to lead. He has a roof gutter cleaning business with his friends, and they're
Wow.
doing great. And so he spends his days on roofs now, where here it was, 11 years earlier, he didn't even want to go up a flight of stairs.
So good. That's so good.
And
Well,
Kary, I'll tell you too, what's really interesting is that, we talk about laying groundwork and how that board meeting was so monumental. And then now he has this roof cleaning business. Another thing is that in those moments in which they were one-on-one, it taught him to get to the other side of things, right? Like he was building a muscle in those moments. You say, oh, patient parent or, task-oriented parent, but teaching him some things that we talk to the boys, all of our children about, is the more you do something, the more you realize you can do it. And so climbing that lighthouse was difficult, but every time he hit the next set of stairs, he thought, okay, but I've already done it. I can exercise this muscle again. And so I think it's something that we lean on now that they're bigger, and big kids have big problems sometimes. And we say those moments in which they got to the next flight of stairs, or they experienced something one-on-one with us that was a push out of their comfort zone, it's taught them now at 18 and 20, I know I can do hard things because I've exercised these muscles before.
So good. I love it. I felt convicted, I'm not going to lie, when I read it, because I just thought, like, wow, I could play a better game. So I booked a trip to Chicago with my son.
Wow.
Yeah, because, he's going to turn 18 this summer, and we're going to just, we're actually I'm taking him to the Strategic Coach Edge program.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that.
I've heard things about that.
Yeah. So I'm going to take him there, and then we're going to make it amazing and do, a soccer game at Soldier Field and all kinds of stuff. So I just feel like you tell this beginning part of the book. Wow. It's a tearjerker. Can you tell people what happens when you go to this meeting with entrepreneurs? And that's kind of the genesis for this whole book.
Yeah, I went to it was a drug and alcohol rehabilitation. I went to support a friend. All the other people there were with family members supporting at the end of the rehab program. And so we're all sitting in the room, and I was the only one non-parent there, but I was in there supporting as a family member. And it was very interesting to see that every parent in there was a successful entrepreneur, and every parent had an addict as a child.
Wow. That'll get you.
They all had their own business. It was almost like we could have been at a coach meeting, but the subject of why we were there was a struggling child.
Wow.
And Kary, it hit me like a bag of sand across the eyes. All of these people had worked hard, had the best intentions. They had sacrificed consistent quality time with their family. That was such an eye-opener, Rosetta Stone for me, saying there's no guarantee, but the best offense and defense to go in the right direction against this is possibly just having consistent quality time. And it kind of scared me straight, if that makes sense. And I think that the offense and the defense of real consistent quality time it's an unfair advantage to some of the things we face in the world today.
You all are this amazing couple. I mean, I've been watching you on social media, and you have a very good tribe around you who is also crushing it. I think we know a lot of mutual people, Justin Donald and Don Wenner and all these people, but you have this now amazing life. Not perfect, but amazing life. You even just got done with Costa Rica, or maybe you're still there. But you also have this new book coming out, like a newer book coming out in the fall, because a lot of times people are saying, how do you create the freedom to have the time? We're talking about this family board meeting. You just said 4 kids, 2 spouses, a meeting each time. Like, it doesn't need to cost a lot of money or a lot of time, but it could if you expand it. Let's talk about this new book really quick, and I'm going to show people the link, but it's called The Passive Income Playbook. I know the books are separate, but how are they related?
That's a great question. So so many people ask us, well, what do you do so that you can do things like live in Costa Rica 4 months out of the year? And so you can always attend the children's plays and their soccer games and all of those things. And, it was funny, even our creative director on this book said, oh, I thought you guys were trust fund kids. Like, you guys both didn't come from just a wealthy background. And honestly, Kary, as you now know, it couldn't be even farther from the truth, because Jim and I both came from something very different than that. And we both work incredibly hard and have grit and tenacity and strength, and have created a passive income lifestyle for ourselves. And this is something through Jim's real estate knowledge and wisdom and education, and what he's been doing for how many years now in real estate?
24.
Gee.
And so as that game has changed and molded and our passive income has increased and we've been able to do this for others, we've been able to continue molding our legendary family life. And honestly, I think the passion for this came when we became a family, when we became so invested and found our passion and purpose in connecting other families as deeply as we've been able to do.
So good. 18summers.com is the website. You have a ton of helps here, case studies, endorsements. And I think it's amazing. There could be somebody right now who's saying, look, I don't just want to buy the book. And by the way, I really encourage people to get it this week. It's our official launch week, and they have all kinds of amazing bonuses. But we're going to show them a special website called 18summers.com/igniter. And for the people who say, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this. Maybe they're I'm just going to say, maybe they're a leader of an organization, a CEO, maybe they attend a church, but they know other people. And you have this amazing group of supporters who said, look, and folks, look at these people. I mean, amazing. But they're coming here and saying, I want to be an igniter. And what an igniter means is that they're going to really get behind it. And so there's 3 ways that they can get behind it. This bulk buy, which you have some incredible bonuses below. We'll talk about that. But sending out an email to the community and perhaps even interviewing Jim. But look at this chart, folks. Can you explain what a date night digital download is, a little bit about the Q&A, and then keynote speaking? They can essentially get you at no charge with a ton of books that can help their community. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So our digital date night download, we created a rhythm in our marriage after it's a little bit of a lengthy story, but the short version of it is we decided that we needed to continue dating each other and to not let our most important relationship, the priority where all other flows from, go to the wayside. So as Jim says, same bat time, same bat place. So every Wednesday, 5:30, 8:30, we have date night. Through some trial and error, we added in a question each week so that we knew what to add, that spice to bring in. We got to know each other deeper. And after 52 weeks, we had covered at least 52 questions. And then we created a deck of cards to share with our 18 Summers tribe. And so.
Wow. And let me tell you, Kary, these questions, as much as they used to be when we first started having these date nights, it's not, how was the weather today? What did the kids' day at school look like?
Yeah.
What errands are we running on Saturday?
It's not planning trivial stuff.
No, it's getting below the surface for deeper questions, and doing this enough with entrepreneur groups. As we've watched this, we've had people 30 plus years when we start to do some of these questions, they're like, wow, I had no idea about that. Mm-hmm. And so better questions, better life, better relationship. And we always put just a little course correction tweak. And our date night, people are like, oh, date night, we've heard of it. But the way we rhythmize it and add this question component, it's changed our marriage and now thousands of others. And again, simple process is so easy to follow. And we wanted to get some people the downloads to start with.
So it's all 52 cards for an entire year, and it's digital download of the questions that we have in our physical deck, which you can buy on Amazon soon.
Yeah,
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
We're very excited about the speaking too. As you know, and it's probably people that know me, I don't take a lot of speaking engagements anymore.
Right.
I love speaking. I love the entrepreneur groups, but I really have become a homebody or an adventure body. I'm on an adventure with my family. So,
Yeah.
but for the impact of the book, as we discussed, then I am getting the word out there. I am offering some speaking engagements. It's not something I do a ton anymore. People say, you're good at it, you enjoy it. I said, yes, but I enjoy my family more. But for this, I've come off the bench a little bit more to allow myself to do some more speaking for this year. So it's something, if you're really wanting to unite the family feeling and value around your community or your business, that's our specialty. That's what we're good at. And we do it in a way that's simple, effective, easy to understand, and easy to see results. With some bad jokes that actually get some good laughs too. So
it's because they don't have to listen to it every day.
I get laughs on the road. I don't get them at home anymore.
There you go. Hey, I can relate to that. Our team has absolutely loved working with you. You know, we have Travis jumping in and Tanisha and Ricky and everybody. But I think whenever I say Jim Sheils or Jamie Sheils, I'm just telling you, everybody who knows you says, oh my gosh, that couple's amazing. Like, that's rare. You know, a lot of times people get, yeah, I've heard them speak, but you rarely get that couple is amazing. What would you say to the person who maybe says, like, my marriage isn't amazing or my relationship with my kids isn't amazing? I know the answer to this, but the family board meeting can help. What would you tell them? Is there hope?
Oh, there's absolutely hope. And I think bringing the intentionality into the relationships. And I would say, in addition to our family board meeting strategy and the date night with a question framework, is also the power of a genuine compliment and a sincere apology. That's another thing we talk about in our book. Sometimes the beginning point of repairing a relationship or starting to deepen a relationship is acknowledging where you already are.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm really sorry for X, Y, and Z. I know that couldn't have been easy. I know that, sometimes as the busy parent or the one forging the path or paying the bills, sometimes we think that we're immune from saying, I'm sorry, or the partner that's working so hard, taking care of all the children, or whatever the dynamic may be in your family. Sometimes we think we're immune from saying, I'm sorry, or giving a compliment like, wow, you really showed up for me today by doing X, Y, and Z. That means a lot to me. And I think that starting there is an amazing starting point, because it just it lowers your guard. It lowers the person who you're communicating with's guard. And it's a great planting soil for deepening a relationship.
Yeah. And the end point is not perfection, Kary. I want to stress that enough, though. We don't know how to teach you how to have a perfect family. It's not our goal. I don't believe in it. I think it's a horrible saying of the perfect family. It puts an unrealistic expectation on you, your spouse, your children. It's not about perfection. It's about bridging imperfections and enjoying the time we have together. And I believe most families are only one or two rhythms away from really getting strong recovery in doing that, or setting a clearer road on how to make that happen. And so that's what our book's really about. It's a bridging to that, where everything seems too overwhelming, too impossible. It's not. It's not about perfection either. And just when you take perfection off the table, you seem to get closer to it. You'll never get all the way there, but it's definitely an easier path.
Gee, how many people want to go to your retreat or something? We'll talk about that here in a moment. But I know Chad. I value Chad. I know Justin. I value Justin. Like, how crazy is it that I saw one of these was back in like 2013, literally a decade. You've been helping people. And I mean, these, some of them are, your people that you don't really hear about, and that's cool. But some of these people are leading massive organizations, have massive success. And here they're saying, look, I mean, how cute is that? The dad and daughter holding hands, and this is unbelievable. How does it feel, like, kind of looking back now that you've had a decade of investing in this message?
Well, it's humbling.
Mm-hmm. It's very humbling. And one thing that I shared too, I think I've shared this with you before, Kary, is that each one of these posts, like, we screenshot it, we share it with each other. Like, these become super tied into us. Every story that somebody shares with us, we carry, we share with each other. Jim has a whole folder on his phone that is these screenshots. That's where it all came from, because it matters. It's not something that we did to say, oh, we want to put this out in the world so that we can be on a live stream with Kary or be in a bookstore.
Although that's great too.
I mean, this is a lot of fun. This is super cool. We got your text this morning about being #1 on Barnes and Nobles, and like, oh wow, that's incredible. I will tell you that the reason that we did it was because it matters, and it doesn't just matter to us; it matters to everyone. And I will tell you how cool it was this morning, because as I said, our boys visited us in Costa Rica this trip, but they didn't stay. They have their own lives now, and to be able to text them this morning and say that we're #1 Barnes and Nobles, and that this book was written because they're here, and that us becoming a family was able to make and help so many other families. I mean, it's just super incredible.
It's amazing. So we got about 3 minutes left. I love the fact that you say, look, it's about the impact, and yet I can't wait for your new book to come out in December, which is about the income. And I think that together is going to be amazing. But you have these retreats. You've kind of decided, hey, we might do some more of these, because I know that's where Shannon found you and other people. What else do you have to offer?
Yeah, I think the best thing is the starting point is the book, and then the date cards and our retreats. I mean, the date cards is just such an easy system to reconnect with your spouse. So that's the best thing. And then for people who want to take it to the next level and really ground and kind of learn from our mistakes and meet other like-minded value families, our retreats are known for doing just that. We look at every family as the same. Yes, we've had some very influential people at our retreats, and it's not because of us, it's because of the person next to them that they're bringing, which really excites me. I think a lot of the masks come off, the guards come down, and it's like, wow, we want to have the best family life we can. And we're going to go over a couple of things that we think can help make that happen. And that's what our retreats are about, but doing it in a fun, experiential way, non-classroom, because I never did good in any of those. Like the kids and the teens really relate to that different way that we teach. And we do it in fun places like Costa Rica, which isn't bad either.
That's so good.
We also have a podcast that we have a lot of fun on that you can get to know.
I saw that. So people can go on Amazon. They can search for that as well. It's all over. But this is really a movement. And what's your big goal? What's a number?
2 million families impacted. We estimate now it's been about 300,000 families. And we'd love to see that number get to 2 million. And just like if you do that math of how many children in each family, and then it goes just from there exponentially.
Generationally. Yeah. You're going to see people saying, my parents did this for me. Now I'm going to do it with my parents. You're going to see that someday.
That's the hope.
We recently did a mastermind on for the next book with our ghostwriter, and as well with our teens and some of their friends. And we were asking them about what makes a legendary family. And what was super cool is one of our boys said, I know exactly how I'm going to raise my children.
Wow.
And I'm certain there's plenty of things that they're going to take that they're going to throw away that they didn't like that we did. But this was one thing that rose to the top that they said, I love that you're available so much that I like it when you go away.
They're
like,
I love it.
But the fact that we're not just changing the lives of our own children, you're changing the lives of anybody that's actively watching you invest in your children, and you're changing the lives of the generations to come. And I think that's really powerful.
So good. Folks, you can be a critic, you can be a cynic, you can be a consumer, or you can be a creator. That's exactly what Jim and Jamie are doing. They're creating legendary families, and you can create your own. Check out the book, get it today. And Jim and Jamie, we're going to celebrate all week. I know that Amazon is starting to blow up. People are really catching on. So again, 18summers.com/igniters, how you dive in if you want to be an igniter. Thank you for being here today, and thanks for trusting us as your publisher.
Thanks so much,
Appreciate it. Thanks, Kary. Talk to you soon. We appreciate it.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you.